respect, specifically Sama. The bottom lane really did perform, and it's especially against Diablo.
Yeah.
You know, he was very aggressive in some key fights. You know, Hans was falking forward, he was positioning aggressively, and he was gaining a lot of advantages for G2. So let's see, you know, this is the beginning of the series where all hope is still alive, Vedi.
It absolutely is. And here we are into Champion Select powered by Omen and HyperX, and already all of the bans have come on through. The Rumble, the Rise, and the Orianna all make some sense. The Varus ban, quite interesting. I've personally been a bit of a Varus anti this tournament, and the Karma has been cropping up all the time here just to make sure that you get a whole bunch of that lane priority. Is Seraphine first pick? Gentlemen?
I mean, we know that bot lane has just become so meta dominant, and making sure that you have that winning bot side of the Rift was the strategy that G2 implemented yesterday. By taking the Seraphine away, they've now put the pressure on G2's bot lane coming into this matchup to say, well, what have you got as an answer? They've showcased the Senna Nautilus before. They might feel confident, but the problem with the last time they did it was that composition just lacked damage. It did not have enough to bring them into the mid game, and they fell rapidly far behind against BLG.
I think the Nautilus angle, though, is the correct angle when Karma is banned. Like, you could go like Karma Ezreal poke style into it if the Karma's not banned, but if that is the case, then you kind of have to go for some sort of kill pressure onto the Seraphine. And so maybe they do you know, either Nautilus or Leona with the misfortune. Some of the common pairings.
Yeah, we'll see what they decide to do. Back in the LCK, we would say that they'd be heading towards Zeri Yuumi. That has been the considered winning lane.
I'm not
into
such
Ashe
a big fan
Seraphine.
of Yuumi at the moment.
And sometimes it didn't work all the time, Kobe. It worked that one time, and then everyone thought that it was going to be okay, and then it was definitely not. I kind of like this idea. Instead, going for the misfortune, and there is the Pantheon. Certainly a big jungler on this patch.
I really like the adaptation. I believe this is the first time we've seen Sama on Misfortune this year. If you want a real throwback, he had a really stellar performance on the champion. I want to say back in 2021 Worlds when he played for Rogue, and he was styling on fools. So very experienced on the champion. Lane dominance has kind of been his go-to back in the day, and they seem to be confident in their ability to bring something out against the Ashe Seraphine with the Xin locked in. I mean, this is exactly what we saw from G2 yesterday. It's such an effective staple, easy way to start off fights, easy follow-up as well. The Seraphine Xin combo, like the ultimate, can combo beautifully off of Xin, providing that extra range in the team fights. We're expecting the Nautilus to come through here. Maybe even a Leona if G2 want a little bit more ranged engage. It depends how aggressive they're feeling in the bot side.
Yeah, so they are going to go for it. Try and kill this Seraphine in the bot side, because if you're not able to, the team fight just gets crazy for Gen.G later on. But I really do like this. You know, Misfortune, very good at the one-item power spike, move her into mid lane, and then kind of opens up for areas for Pantheon to make some plays with too.
And now Aurora and Ahri rise in priority. These are the two mid laners that we've seen heavily contested when Ryze and Orianna are the main mid laners that get banned away. I think we've seen some answers into the Ahri. Mel, another one that's also been becoming just more and more popular, because I think teams are struggling to find an effective counter pick into her outside of some of these assassins, which in game one aren't always the best to bring out.
And if you're banning away the Mel and you already have Pantheon, like Pantheon and Ahri is such a good mid jungle, very strong early game, lots of kill pressure. So G2, they definitely could go, and it's even looking better if they wanted to be able to grab that Ahri.
Yeah, it could be more disengage as well from Gen.G if they'd like to. We know that Chovy really does like things like the Hui that we saw come out a couple of days ago. And so I think that Ashe Seraphine opens the doors to a lot of different mid laners that you can throw in. And so we'll see what they do decide to go with.
How likely do you feel about it?
Oh man,
Kiin
they want Ahri so bad. Look at this. A Silence ban also.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like
Silence ban. They're like, please, can we have Ahri?
The Nar ban to me also suggests something like a Cassante for Kiin.
Or a Renekton.
Or a Renekton, exactly. Something relatively safe. It's likely that he's going to have to blind pick. Based on the bans, you're very much right, Kobe, that it feels like G2's looking at an Ahri pick, and then Gen.G will have to pick something blind on the top side, but they'll get counter pick for Chovy in mid.
I like Renekton with the Seraphine. I feel like you can add a bit of longevity to the champion by keeping them alive a bit longer and being a little bit more frustrating.
Do they now just pick something like Cassante themselves? I don't know if they feel like they need the front line. I mean, we talked about the Ahri and the Aurora. I didn't love Cap's Aurora that we saw when he played against BLG. I mean, I'm hoping that Cap shows up today because he definitely had a couple off games yesterday and against that BLG series as well. But we'll see now what Chovy brings as a response. Annie is sometimes used, but I don't know if I love Annie in this composition.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Annie's going the wrong direction for a composition like this, as there's that Renekton that we were talking about. I don't think too worried about things like Kennen as well. In the LCK, we'd often see the Gnar and the Kennen both band away to protect the Renekton pick, but not something they seem to be too worried about at this point in time. As Duro wanted to pick up something for Chovy. We'll see what it is going to be, whether it is going to be a little bit more range. Maybe it's just a Victor or a Nazir or something like that, just to try and chill in that mid lane, make things up. This would be a different school of thought, but still the same idea of
the chilling that you're talking about,
back
though.
and scale.
Yeah, that's the chilling.
Yep.
That is the chilling max. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Much more aggressive, much more big team fight here from Gen.G and on an much earlier timeline than the Aurelion Soul. Now, this Aurora, I mean, it is a good matchup into the Renekton too, so you could still put it up there if you want to switch it up here for Caps, but honestly, I kind of do expect the Cassante. I just give BrokenBlade the Cassante or some sort of tank up there. That's the direction G2 have been drafting, is just keep BrokenBlade on a bunch of, these frontline big beefy tanks, and they're going to keep it up.
I'm a bit worried, though, for the lack of damage here on G2's side. Feel like if Gen.G are able to get onto their chosen targets, wipe them out, then there's not going to be as much follow-up potential.
And especially, a lot of damage is your Misfortune Ultimate, and Misfortune Ultimate is so hard to channel versus a Seraphine, because Seraphine, wherever you start channeling it from, if you do it early, Seraphine's just going to bounce an Ultimate straight towards you, and there is a lot of stuff to make it difficult for that Misfortune to get good value out of the ult. Of course, Pantheon and Aurora in the mix there as well. And
that's true. Pantheon does do a fair bit of damage.
I do think G2's comp is very similar to, like, we use this shotgun analogy where it's kind of like you need to find that target, burst them out, and then ideally with the numbers advantage, you can then play the extended fight. Because in contrast, Gen.G want to dive as well. When you've got Renekton, Xin, and Galio, 3 champions that love to be in melee range of their opponent. So it's kind of that front-to-back style with a lot of backline threats, and especially if Kiin can find flanks, as he's so often proficient at doing. Like, that backline is going to be very scary to navigate for G2. So I really like what Gen.G's brought. I think the game 1 is already going to be a tough one, and I really think the Caps needs to show up in this series because Aurora, not an easy champion to pilot, but if he can find Ashe, find those picks, that can be the difference maker in G2 potentially finding a game.
And if you don't get some early money and keep up as far as the pace of the game with the Aurora, then how do you do damage later when they have Galio ult shield and like Seraphine healing and shielding? Yeah, like that champ could become useless if they don't get some value out of it in the early and mid stages.
Yep, so what we want to see is early action as we dive onto the Rift for game number 1, G2 versus Gen.G. This is one that G2 has won in the past. As Vedi already set up, they often win a game in a best of 5, right? And so it shouldn't be another sweep. We've had a few too many of those so far this tournament. Hopefully this one is going to stay more competitive as Gen.G. This is a very Gen.G draft as well. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Ruler's Ashe. I think he just glides on this champion. Chovy's Galio needs no introduction. Yeah. Kiin is on his Renekton, and he's a top laner, and so obviously that's a comfort pick. And Canyon's in Zhao is pretty amazing.
Renekton is even comfort for a lot of people that autofill top lane, speaking from experience.
I think Chovy even played it when he was filling in top lane when he was playing on Griffin back in the day.
Yeah. Okay, SkewMond here, since they had the early ward and they saw that Raptors and Blue both are not started by Canyon, then they kind of assume that he's just up there doing a red buff start, and they can go ahead and split the map. Splitting the map against Ashe Seraphine is part of this plan that we talked about in Champ Select. We want to kill it. You pick a Nautilus, and you want to kill this lane. So this is a very common solo queue jungle path where you go your own Raptors into their blue Gromp to get your level 3 and then gank bottom. And now the gank bottom is coming. SkewMond, as soon as he finishes Gromp, he'll get level 3 and he'll be there.
Yep, there's the hook as well. They did get the information that SkewMond wasn't in his own jungle, so they have an idea that this Pantheon's making his way over, but the flash in as he does get the stun onto Ruler. Flash out already used from the bottom lane of Gen.G. Looking a little worse for wear.
Yeah, so the thing is the timer for the wave and the timer for finishing the Gromp were a little bit different there. So Labrov just saw the angle to go in. So he starts it then just because the angle is there and because the wave is going to push in further. But, SkewMond obviously had not quite finished the Gromp to get to his level 3, so he wasn't quite at the perfect timing to actually complete the kill, and they just get the flash.
Yeah, there's a pretty interesting jungle interaction now because Canyon, with great awareness, seeing the gank from SkewMond on the bot side, sees that there's a window to steal away his red buff thanks to the Ashe E. That Ashe E completely changed Canyon's plan, and he's kind of adapting on the fly now to the situation that he's in. There was an opportunity for him to potentially gank bottom lane, which is why SkewMond had to path bot. He had to try and clear his bot side camps and be ready to cover for a potential fight down there, because if Canyon was able to find a gank, then this whole early game investment would have put G2 very far behind. So his clearing and his path is a bit awkward, but now they're fighting over that bot crown.
Yeah, and they can chase him off because the bot lane is pushing yet again. When you do this path in solo queue, your Raptors into their blue and Gromp, I find that I always have to, like, from the very beginning, type out to the bottom lane the plan and, like, keep the timing very well aware so that they don't, you know, do anything early. Otherwise, it's really hard to keep up with the camp respawns when enemy jungler gets the early information. So good response from Canyon.
In the meantime, though, Ruler is still taking a whole bunch of damage here towards the bottom side of the map. Surround sound will be helping to keep him alive. But G2 certainly standing their ground here in this lane.
And while the scrapping was happening, you can see running at the side of your screen the history that's happened between the two organizations. Initially, right at the start, when they did meet, G2 was kind of at its heyday as an organization, but since then, JG has come back with a vengeance, largely at MSI Internationals, but also in the World's group stages. Gen.G have really gotten G2's number, and things aren't expected to be different today as they come in as the heavy favorites once again.
And I remember the result of that, the 3-0 as well, even echoed throughout the LCK for Gen.G immediately afterwards. Often they talk about that best-of-5 series and saying what they can do to try and mitigate it. They had a lot of respect for G2 as well. So I have a feeling that Gen.G is certainly not going to be taking this matchup lightly, even if it has been a few best-of-5 since then.
Yeah, I like the past tense, the had.
Yeah.
Probably still.
I mean, I think that it is still, like, those types of, like, 3-0 unexpected victories, they stick with you, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, G2 do, like, in the West, they are kind of just the most winningest team when it comes to playing against teams from the East. So I just imagine that a lot of teams, especially from the LCK, have that respect because they know the history is there. And Caps is always a player that can always show up on the day. Right now, though, you look at that mid lane matchup, Chovy, I mean, his Galio is just always so impressive to watch because I see him losing half his HP constantly in the lane, but you look down at the bottom of your screen, oh yeah, even in farm. No difference in gold. He does such a good job at staying even in often these very difficult matchups to play in the early laning phase.
Yeah, very even game here in the opener. All solo laners using their teleports right back to lanes. And junglers here finishing up and coming right back to the bottom lane. I don't think there's going to be any further action, but remember that the flash from Ruler is still on cooldown, as is his barrier. So in their attempts to push in this lane as well, there's a little bit of a dangerous timer. That's why Canyon is hovering here on the control ward.
Yep. Making sure that he's there for a counter gank big spot. SkewMond out as Canyon looking to move in, but Ruler is already in so much trouble. First blood to Hansama! And yesterday he was certainly the linchpin of this squad. That's going to continue here as he gets the most money.
Great hook from Labrov, and Ruler's got to position more towards, you know, Duro there a little bit to ensure, because that hook lands, you're just so dead. You are so dead. They know that it's possible that SkewMond comes from that tri-brush. That's why Canyon is camping there on the control ward. But if you get hit by the hook, Vedius, doesn't matter if you know that he's there.
Labrov had a great performance yesterday in the series versus BFX, and he's looking to continue that performance today. Landing that hook, I was kind of surprised that it connected, to be honest. I thought that Ruler would be safe, but he finds the angle, he gets the connect, and they just one-shotted. Punishing that flash, this Ruler. Really happy to see that G2 are looking to try and take advantage of these summoners and are continuing to find advantages through bot side.
Well, skirmish over Crab, yeah, level 6 is big.
Very nice pickup there from SkewMond, just walks over and grabs the smite. Nicely done, as the hook this time is going to miss thanks to the Justice Punch out of Chovy, who's now just going to be rotating down towards his Hex Drake, looking to try and get some control of the area.
One of the best things about the bot lane play for G2 as well is that SkewMond didn't have to flash follow to be able to follow up on that hook because the timing was so good, and so you still have your flash stun on Pantheon to set up the next play, and now
Caps just looking to kill Caps. Not going to be able to flash because he does not have it. Isn't going to invest anything else, but still that was a little bit dicey.
Yeah, I would say the next possible repeat kill could be on Seraphine on bottom. What?
Well, speaking of which, yeah, Duro just caught in rotation. Really nice quick start pull out of SkewMond.
How does the rest of the script go? Does this look good for G2? Is it looking positive? I mean,
Oh, it was happening yesterday too, and it's actually, I mean, it's easy to follow the like no flash on squishy targets and then still having kill buttons on Pantheon, right? And I was thinking about Pantheon's flash, but Pantheon's ultimate also, and so just right into the river there, Labrov sets up another one, and they're just chaining these, the summoners on bottom lane here. G2 just destroying the Gen.G bottom lane throughout the map and earning themselves this big gold lead.
I mean, I'll be completely honest, like this seems like such a basic concept, but it's one that's often lost in the LEC where you burn a flash and then you just keep attacking that same lane, and they're doing such a good job of SkewMond just investing his focus on the bot side of the Rift and they're netting advantages.
And I'd say, I would also blame multiple supports for basically this sin of you burned your flash on bottom lane and then you're just like right back to your duties as usual and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go get some vision now. No, you don't have flash. You know, we saw an Alistar do it. I don't remember which one it actually was, but right after burning flashes in bottom lane, then getting yourself in dangerous territory. Ashe arrow.
Arrow gonna connect there. Let's see whether Chovy does have enough damage here. The Justice Punch comes through and there's the Colossal Smash. And Gen.G are on the board. Duro is gonna be punished for it though, as Hansama takes him down with some bullet time and gets back to farming.
Okay, so Ruler with great accuracy sets up a play in the mid lane, so Chovy gets himself a kill. But the same thing happens in the bot side as Labrov catches Duro out and he finds himself at 0-2-0 on the Seraphine here 9 minutes into the game.
This is why a lot of teams, they kind of wait until maybe a little bit later in Fearless or something, or maybe drop bans on Nautilus when they go for Ashe Seraphine, because Nautilus is so good at looking for picks and kills onto these squishy targets like earlier in.
Absolutely.
And that's why you expect this pick, but Labrov also props to him for playing it super well.
The champion has so much versatility. I think hook champions in general against squishy targets feel so deadly for the squishy range support, just because once that CC does connect, you are so prone to dying. The Ashe arrow, I mean, Caps did this exact play with Hansama yesterday.
Yeah.
And now he's getting a taste of his own medicine as Chovy gets an easy kill. Flash over the wall from Labrov. There's a bit of a contest over the vision. Ruler is not in the area, and it results in a kill on the bot side, so 1-for-1 overall.
Yeah, they are just blasting this bottom lane here. We'll see too, because it's an early bloodthirster is the result of these early kills here for Hansama. And that's a huge power spike for the champion. You just get infinite sustain basically off the wave now.
And I will say, like, so far at first stand, or at least the first few games, BrokenBlade, I think, was underwhelming compared to what we expected of him. But since their approach to, we're just putting you on tanks, bro. You're playing Ornn, you're playing Sion, you're playing Cassante. Like, yesterday, he was extremely solid. Or, I would say his Ornn performance was carry levels of performance as well. And now against Kiin, he was behind about a wave, and now he's pretty much kept it dead even against a Renekton matchup, which can get quite ahead early. Kiin has continued to try to proxy, but he's been that steadfast tank on the top side, being a pillar, while G2 invests more resources in the bot side of the Rift.
Yeah, it's been such a cool story for G2, where even though Caps hasn't been having his best games, you know, pretty far from it, honestly, the rest of the team has been doing so well around him. The bottom lane, as you're talking about, BrokenBlade as well for top lane, and they've had him on a lot of these tanks and kind of playing the role. G2 really feels like they've identified the way that they want to play the game here at first stand, and they are succeeding with it. SkewMond especially, with the Pantheon ultimate available.
Another arrow coming down here as Caps will be able to avoid it this time around. And Chovy looking for a little bit of an angle towards grabbing some plates, but not going to be getting kills this time.
And, you know, we've been talking a fair amount about how, like, G2 have been rising up, but it's because they are such underdogs in this series. The reality is that Gen.G is just exceptional. And you only have to look at some of their stats. They're undefeated so far at this tournament. They're first in almost every single stat. Their average gold lead at 14 is 3,000 gold. So they are unbelievably dominant. And the fact that G2 actually have a gold lead in this early game is one of the biggest surprise factors going into this
quite
Gen.G
considerable.
matchup.
Like, this is not a nothing lead. 1.3k is certainly snowballable, you could say, as Kiin and BrokenBlade going to be finding each other one more time. One, I guess, hesitation I would have is that Gen.G's composition does 5v5 very effectively, and their bottom lane is a large amount of utility for this squad. Not necessarily what they're going to be needing to play through later on in the game.
We got to emphasize the utility here with the early deaths, because the damage the damage might not be there.
Well, Chovy does not quite find a taunt there, and another hook from Labrov is fantastic. They could be able to take the Galio down, and in fact, they absolutely will, as Caps manages to get that last hit before the heroic entrance comes down.
Uncharacteristic catch onto Chovy. Generally someone who's very stable, hard to catch out, but caught in the river, no support from the rest of the team. G2 find another pick.
And it's made possible because Hans can 1v2 bottom lane with his early Bloodthirster here. The Ashe Seraphine are in no position to punish him at all. You can't poke and chip down Misfortune when he's got full Bloodthirster this early. He just heals back up, destroys the wave, and even 1v2, he pushed them out because SkewMond's ultimate on Pantheon always threatening if Ashe Seraphine are too far up in the lane. And that just means G2, they get priority everywhere. They're going to grab another objective.
Double Dragon.
And the Galio death meant that the bot side of the Rift as well was very scared. They had to back away. That support with the jungler on the top side of the map as well. They have to go back to base early. They're playing safe underneath the tower. Kiin getting very low.
Yeah, has to Dominus actually just to avoid death from BrokenBlade. Really good positioning there to catch him out of position after that slice had come on into the wave. And BB is going to stop him from trying to get home there as well. Kiin going to be delayed a little bit on his return.
Been keeping my eyes on SkewMond. I thought there were a couple times where they would actually threaten a dive onto top side just because of how low Kiin was, but they're sticking to their game plan, playing around mid, playing around bot. After that kill, Caps has definitely closed that gap against Chovy. Second dragon in their favor. I'm cautiously optimistic about how well G2 are playing this early game. But as you highlighted, Atlus, it's those fights. Well, hang on now. Hang on now. It's the fights with which Atlus did warn us about, and it is the team fighting of Gen.G that has been the undoing of many teams that have found advantages against this team before.
With how big BrokenBlade is, though, Thornmail is already completed. It could certainly just be a frontline to play around here for G2. Just play it front to back, keep it honest.
I like that there's no risk for me hyping up G2, you know? Because if it works, I'm like, oh my god, look at the hype. And then if it backfires and Gen.G wins,
just Gen.G.
then I'm like, damn, too bad, Benny, sorry.
Yeah, I'm
risk-free from me.
Right now, I'm cautiously optimistic. Herald's going to be spawning in 30 seconds, and you can see that's what the swap has been for. So BrokenBlade being sent to bot lane has the TP available. Caps now with control over top, and Labrov is just hovering here to make sure that his mid laner is safe. MF moving over, they're going for the dive.
Yeah, they're looking for it. The hook is going to miss because of the flash out from Kiin. Avoids a whole bunch of the extra damage as well. So arrow does go wide, clears just up the wave, and Kiin will survive. But no flash for the Renekton could be a big deal. Yeah,
honestly, well played from both parts. You know, G2, they don't make the mistake of taking tower aggro after the flashes were traded there. And, you know, they're happy to trade Labrov's flash for the Renekton flash. Despite not getting the kill, Rift Herald is spawning. That's why you go for that play on this timing anyway. All right, Gen.G, is this the moment, though? Chovy, look at Chovy from bottom lane. If he roams a little closer, then he can threaten Galio ult, but sounds just going to teleport now.
Yep, they're teleporting in. Let's see where the Canyon can get on towards this Rift Herald, as I don't think it's going to happen, as it is going to be secured there by SkewMond. Now BrokenBlade gets into that front line, but he's taking a lot of damage. Knockout from the Q only connects onto Canyon. He's not too worried about it with that Crescent Guard running as Kiin gets into that backline, but doesn't have the dominance, and there is the bullet time, but it's eaten by Chovy's heroic exit. Just escapes the situation as Canyon looking to try and escape on the other side. It is still a win for G2, and we'll see whether they can take down Canyon as well.
He's chasing, but I think Canyon should be able to walk his way out of this one. He's got his tier 2 boots as well.
Yeah, tier 2 versus just the brown bags or the free ones.
They're going to trap him. Teleport here.
All right, Caps should be able to make his way forward. Just needs an auto, and in fact doesn't need anything at all. Going to be able to lock down that kill onto the jungler as Chovy moves on over, but knows there's a man advantage here for G2, and it just everything keeps coming up G2 in this game.
Yeah, even with Seraphine ult hitting like 3 people there, you know, Hans is able to cleanse it, then backs off, fires off the Misfortune ult, and still has enough power to chase off Canyon from the other side. So G2, they get the Rift Herald, plus they get a bunch of kills after.
Keep your eyes on the Sion here, because BrokenBlade goes in super deep, but then he uses the Rift Herald to actually get out of the situation, because the threat of the Galio is real. But the Sion is getting low, goes into the Rift Herald, knocks up Kiin, allows him to get the pick, and now it's Gen.G that's split apart. Sion is just creating chaos on the backline. The bot lane of
look on me, 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 look on me.
And Hans wanted them to look on him.
That he did, because he was cautious of Canyon and Chovy threatening him on the backline. But, I mean, yeah, impressive stuff. G2 win a fight, they get the Herald. But that gold gap between the AD carries, there was a 1k gold lead for Hans Sama that Ruler has successfully been able to shrink.
Yeah, I love it. The BrokenBlade driving, spinning donuts there in the middle of the river. And as the team is killing Kiin, Hans is like, okay, yeah, finish killing Kiin. And then look at me, okay, I got 3 people over here. So
40 seconds. That'll be the next big point of contention. Items looking good for G2. SkewMond really the biggest threat on G2's side as the ulti's chuck top lane.
Yeah, Grand Starfall is going to come on through here as Chovy does have to flash, but I don't think it's going to save him as the Aegis comes out and Caps is going to lock down a killing spree for himself off the back of SkewMond's great plays. Great
stuff. Yeah, SkewMond here, still 0 deaths. He's only missed out on participating in a single kill, and that was the bottom lane one where they flashed on the Seraphine and got that one for free. So another really good game from SkewMond himself as well. And with Pantheon, it's very easy to keep up the pace. When they start to get these outer towers down for G2, they're the ones that can now continue to pressure side lanes and then look to collapse.
That spear from SkewMond definitely hurting.
Yeah, he has 2 items, and there is only a Ruby Crystal on Canyon.
Caps has not got TP. This is a numbers advantage. Galio has the ulti to arrive.
BrokenBlade has ulti too. BrokenBlade can Sion ult down this river.
Let's see whether they can actually utilize it as BrokenBlade. As you can see, just off to the side, but they're not going to go for it. Arrow is going to go wide as Ruler does not quite find his mark. And Gen.G will successfully take away the Drake, stopping that soul point.
Yeah, Caps was coming from base, so Caps was just a little too far.
Yeah, I think it was a good punish from Gen.G and good respect from G2 because they realized Cap stayed top, they tracked his TP, they knew he couldn't arrive. Chovy matching him, even though he was dead, had the ultimate to arrive in time. But also G2 saying, do we need to force a 4v5 when we can just save our stuff for a play like this?
Well, that is going to be Kiin taken down once again. Caps is just picking up kill after kill here as he goes towards the bottom lane to do the same thing. Hansama just holding onto the wave here in this mid lane. The Bloodthirster meaning that all of that poke just does nothing at all.
And BrokenBlade has teleport, so he can actually recall and then go teleport to top lane to try and catch the top wave that Chovy is putting in. And G2 showing some good restraint during a timer where we're close to a play, but just not quite because Caps is a little bit too far. And then they get the follow-up play instead. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my region right now. I'm showing some restraint there. Because it was one of those things where, like, yeah, on instinct, you'd want to fight that dragon. Normally, I would expect G2 to fight it. But, yeah, they recognize this is a bad position, and we can just concede it. It's okay. It's all good. But they'll get a kill. They'll get a tower. Hans did lose his flash in mid lane, which could really hurt him as we get later into the game. But
Ruler. Yeah, Ruler is very, very
He's very hurt.
Actually able to barrier that last little bit of damage. As now the Encore comes forward, the double charm is fantastic. Underneath that turret there as well as Labrov trying to get his way out. Canyon really wants to punish that positioning as Wind Becomes Lightning is not enough to do anything at all, and G2 managed to walk it off.
Yeah, Hans did not have vision on Ruler as he walked way through the brush and didn't remember that the barrier was still there. So he knew, okay, it's just a couple of waves of my ult to be able to kill him. But because of the barrier, he does survive. And Hans canceled his ult early just so he could go back to mid lane and continue the pressure.
Okay, Caps having a much better Aurora performance. Aurora performance.
Yeah, better Aurora too.
The Aura's looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, you guys are right.
His Aurora.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly just shocked by how proactive G2 are being and the fact that they just keep punishing Gen.G. This team that genuinely felt so infallible based on what we've seen all split long. For G2 to playing with this level of confidence, like, it really does feel like they've turned the nameplates off and they're just treating them like any other team, which is exactly what you need to do.
And it's not even necessarily confidence, it's discipline that they're using. We've seen already with that dragon fight here as well. They notice that Ruler is overextended. And yeah, that was a little unfortunate, not being able to get the bullet time to fully complete, but still even being able to walk away from that great encore out from Duro. They just seem to have all of the answers, and it feels like it's preparation for each of these plays that's really benefiting G2 in this game.
Yeah, Hans was feeling benevolent. He was like, you know what, fine. Ruler, world champion, I'll let you walk away this time, buddy.
You can have one.
Remember that.
I mean,
how kind of him.
Ultimately, he got what he wanted, though, which is the long-term play of no sums on the bot lane. And that Pantheon, we know that SkewMond, he's got a homing missile with that ultimate, and he's going to be locked and loaded, aiming for Ruler's head.
And now, he will for sure be timing that barrier.
For
he's
sure.
like, all right, I remember. It's the luxury that G2 are in this game, that that they still have the massive priority.
They have 3 towers to 0, gentlemen.
Yeah. I mean, this is a bit of a shutout right now.
I'm not excited yet. They could still throw this. I still fully believe in their ability to throw this game.
I don't. They're looking, as we said, really disciplined.
Say the cast a curse thing again. Do it, Max. Stop this man. Stop him right now.
Nope. Not this time. I've been told that I should not do that anymore. I'm a changed man.
And Gen.G are looking really sluggish, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's true. And I feel like this has been a thing for Gen.G, but not in 2026. It was a 2025 thing where it felt like they just pick a very slow composition and then just try and play to stay even throughout the game and then win in team fights later. But they're not very proactive when they're playing this style. And that is looking like it's what they're continuing to do here today, which is not a great sign if you are a Gen.G fan.
I thought that BrokenBlade was doing a bit of a bait there, starting that one off, trying to bait the Ashe E outs to draw that attention, get that vision done. Instead, their focus is very much on the bot side of the Rift. They did lose that third dragon of the game, but this time around, their position, their timing is good. Cap's quite a little unfortunate for him. He's just short of the death cap. You can see he's very close, but if he can get that gold, he does have the teleport available and could regroup with the fight. If he can secure that, his kill threat onto Ruler significantly increases. And remember, those flashes still unavailable for Ruler and Duro if they want to contest.
Ruler also taking a big chunk there from Caps. Gen.G very far away from this dragon. It's spawning in 1 second's time. There it is. Second mountain to come on through as now Kiin deals with this outer turret on the top side of the map. Finally, Gen.G are on the board as far as that is concerned, but it looks like Soul Point should be going over to G2 without a contest.
Yeah, you don't want to fight this at Gen.G. You're so far behind right now that just try and get some gold in trade for a dragon. Singular dragons are not that big of a power boost, but actual gold from turret plates, if... So Kiin got the top side turret, and he got one turret, the little baby turret off the turret plate off the secondary turret here. Just try and get as much gold as you possibly can to fight your next fight after you get a couple more completed items here.
I'm still keeping an eye on the itemization from Caps. He has to be so close to that death cap now. A couple more waves should probably do the trick as they clear out vision. Start setting up around this Baron. 25 minutes in, and G2, they've held onto a gold lead this entire game. We've seen little to no mistakes from G2 so far against Gen.G, and they're going to, with a gold deficit like this, as you're highlighting, they're going to need a big team fight to swing the game in their favor.
And I just want to take a moment to talk about jungle again.
Okay.
Because this is why I'm always such a big fan of deviating from full clears when your comp really indicates like a lane will super benefit from it. And there isn't that much risk to doing it. SkewMond, remember back to the opener, we're going to have a little bit of a fight here. SkewMond does have ulti, Pantheon could join.
Yeah, race to the bottom lane as Chovy avoids the CC and will be able to get out with the heroic entrance. So that does mean that ulti is on cooldown, but still manages to escape.
But remember back to the opener, and it's like, okay, so you see this this clear decent amount where you go your Raptors into separating bottom lane. When you've got an Ashe Seraphine that's going to be a very vulnerable but heavy pushing lane early, go for the 3 camp attempted gank, get the flash. Wait a second.
Arrow going to connect there as there's the encore. Gen.G do not want to waste anything here. Making sure that they take down the Aurora. So Caps lying on the floor. There is a bit of extra money going over to Kiin as well.
Yeah, very good pick from the side of Gen.G, punishing Caps as he's trying to clear out vision. They even got the flash out from him as well. It looks like he's still short of that death cap gold. But I don't think Gen.G's going to get much off the back of it. They'll buy a little bit of time. They won't even claw back much vision, though. We look at the minimap and we can see that they don't even have any vision lit around the river. This entire other half of the map is completely dark, and they're very reliant on Ruler as he's forced to use the hawk shot to get info as to whether the Baron has been started or not.
Man, Gen.G just constantly standing on wards here in their own jungle. Finally, some sweepers going to be utilized as Duro might be able to find this one ward as well. As there's control ward in the back of the pit, and immediately BrokenBlade says no, you're not allowed to see.
Yeah, they have to rely basically on the timer of Hawkshot and the 2 blue trinkets and try and rotate those. So Hawkshot used now. For next timer, they can use a blue trinket. Control ward actually back in the back of the pick. Now G2, I would say, only thing is don't flip versus Canyon.
Well,
Canyon will steal those.
It's a bit of a scary situation here. It looks like they are going to pull away, though, as Kiin makes his way in with the teleport. I imagine that's what G2 are looking for, right? Make sure that the Crocodile does not have that in the side lane. And they get it, and then they back away.
And that's that discipline again, Vedius. You start the objective with your goal, get your side lane teleport there. Of course, Caps, no teleport on the Aurora as well. But yeah, they got Kiin's out, and
they should have been tracking the fact that Chovy already TP'd earlier, so they have TP advantage with BrokenBlade. So they can do this exact same play again. Put BrokenBlade bot, draw pressure towards that area of the map, then TP, guarantee the numbers advantage, but they're kind of forced to have, you're seeing it now, Chovy has to match, because he's the only person that can get within range to ulti to then join the fight. So G2 just have a lot of leverage right now, and finally the death cap is completed for Caps. It's taken him a little bit longer than he had planned, but a big item spike for the mid laner of G2.
Meanwhile, the Lord Dom's done for Ruler, so he can actually do damage to the Sion now. And if they are able to get a good like initiation, maybe a little bit of someone sectioned off from the rest of the team, then you do have to be wary of the Gen.G CC, because the game is not completely exploded at the moment. It's still teetering there. There's chances.
Ooh, unless Ruler just gets one shot, the answer is no. Not just yet. The opening salvo, not enough there
For
from
sure.
Caps, but I think fear of death, certainly there for Ruler. Mid lane has always been a little bit of a rough place for Ruler. We call it the Ruler position for a reason. It's just around beneath the Raptor pit right there. You guys might remember.
Yep. I believe you guys even have a name for it.
Yeah, it's just called the Ruler spot.
Well, the Dragon's spawning in 30 seconds, and I don't think Caps is going to have his ulti. I can't quite see the cooldown on it, but it's going to be just short. Maybe if they can buy a little bit more time. Gen.G actually invests a lot of time around Baron. They've cleared out a lot of vision, and I think they're starting this objective off.
Yeah, they do just move over there. Teleport is going to bring BrokenBlade into the fight, but this Baron is going down extraordinarily quickly. Ruler just pumping these arrows into it. Labrov making his way over. And SkewMond off towards the back of the pit, but it looks like they might just be rushing this one down. Can the steal actually come on through? SkewMond waiting to get on in there, flashes forward. Who's going to get the smite? It is going to go to G2! As Kiin with that Crescent Guard just desperately trying to stay alive. But BrokenBlade gets into the back line. Justice Punch is decent there from Chovy as well, trying to hold him in position as he goes golden at the same time. Gen.G still kind of alive in the fight, and Cap says no, they are not alive in this fight. Atlus down they will go as he wipes out the bottom lane. The Grand Star falls there as well, and G2 may have just stamped this game in game number 1.
They don't lose a single champion in their efforts to take the Baron and take down Gen.G.
Excellent discipline, excellent execution. G2 are living up to the potential that this organization believed in. Here in game 1, an over 7k gold lead. They're going to secure the soul, and they are dominating Gen.G.
The discipline from G2 here. You know, it's Gen.G that felt like they were boxed into a corner, and so they try and get a miracle Baron play for themselves. But G2, nice response, and SkewMond hits the Q plus smite, I believe. I'm going to have to look at the replay for the combo of damage, but he is able to secure it for G2, and that should secure the game for them.
Yep, Master priceless moment as well as we have a look at this Baron being taken. Bit of desperation out of Gen.G.
I think BrokenBlade eliminating Ruler from the back was a really good way to start. SkewMond then has to stack up his Q. He didn't even have the fully stacked, but Q plus Smite able to secure it. Outsmiting Canyon, got to be a great feeling for the young man in the jungle for G2. Chovy does what he can to try and keep Kiin alive, but Kiin ends up falling short, and BrokenBlade just does so much work on the front line. Kind of the unsung hero of this fight, just eliminating Duro and Ruler from getting involved. And then Caps, his ultimate comes back off cooldown, cleans up on the back end of the fight. And G2, again, like, I'm so impressed by their discipline. This level of play is the complete opposite of what we saw against BLG. This team is completely leveled up in such a short amount of time.
I even think that it's different from what we saw yesterday as well. I feel like they were playing more fast and loose in that series. This is certainly some by-the-book League of Legends, as Labrov able to just get his way out, and they are just playing smoke and mirrors. They're not giving Gen.G any opportunity to get into any of these fights, and it's something that we've seen Gen.G do all year long. It's why they're frustrating for a lot of teams to deal with. But instead, G2 just delivering a bit of their own medicine as Gen.G losing all of their inhibitors at the same time. Top just going to go down in the bottom lane, the last one to fall as the hook is going to connect there onto Kiin. Not exactly the optimal target there as Canyon might also be taken down, but there are all 3 inhibitors lying on the floor. It's only a matter of time before G2 are able to take down these Nexus turrets as Canyon realizes that he goes in. But SkewMond is so tanky, man.
Caps working his way towards the Nexus Towers. Both will fall. G2 doing this tutorial style, not giving Gen.G anything left in their base. The minions, I mean, the Baron buffer's worn off, but they don't need any more of the hook connects.
Yeah, another hook is fantastic there out of Labrov as Canyon just realizes that he has to go in. Ruler trying to dance around the battlefield, but it does not work. Even SkewMond survives. How did that even happen? As Caps is just dashing, flashing onto the fountain to try and get the last kill. And finally, G2 are going to take down the Nexus. What a statement here from the European first seed as they go up 1-0 in this best of 5.
G2 just demolished the tournament favorites, Gen.G in game number 1 in the opener.
And that
they
was brutal
dismantled
start
them.
to finish.